Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience Podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions.
I was mad. I mean, I wasn't that far off first, but I really wanted to win. Yeah. I'm a very competitive person, and every time there's a challenge in front of me, as you see in my career in my book, because after a while there's another challenge when I resigned from a company after 38 years, no hesitation to go. And I had no clients, no nothing, starting off at age 75, but that's down the road. You have many more years to talk to me about.
Right, exactly. Okay, so you get to Toronto, no job. Then what happens?
I go get unemployment insurance. And we started looking for a house. Very interesting. Of course, no bank would give you a mortgage, but I was getting $552 a month. And on the unemployment insurance back there, my wife was making money. Mm-hmm. And we found a lady who found a very nice vendor that said, we'll take back the first mortgage over 40 years. So we bought a house, 40-year amortization, $552 a month. Wow. I paid $1,000 of principal after 8 years.
Wow.
But we had a house. And we're in the same house today. The house I'm sitting with is the same house we bought in 1978. But I needed a job. So I walked down a street down near my house, Bathurst Street, and I saw insurance. So I went upstairs and I said to the guy, do you sell house insurance? He said, yeah. I said, well, I need it. And I told him I want. He said, what do you do for a living? I said, I'm unemployed. He said, would you like to sell life insurance? I said, does it pay? He said, if you're a hard worker, it'll pay. I said, I'm a hard worker. Next day I had an interview, did the usual stuff. And by December 1st, I think it was, or December 2nd, anyways, they hired me at Crown Life and I started my career in insurance.
Wow.
Didn't know a thing.
And this was in 78.
Anything. I'm sorry?
This was in 78.
This was 1978.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So you go to work in insurance.
Yep.
How different was selling life insurance from teaching?
Similar, that you're dealing with human beings and you're got to be social, but opposite, because now my day was my own. We're teaching. I knew every day I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. We're going to talk about basketball, whatever. And I had to go out. And the other thing is, when I taught, every 2 weeks, I got a paycheck, or every month. Here, I didn't get paid until I made sales. Right. So it was much more pressure on me, much more. But it was very, very similar, because you still had to meet people. You still had to find people. And that was the tough part, and still is a tough part for anybody in our business. I don't care how long you've been prospecting, getting new clients, as you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Prospecting is the key. So you go to work in 78. How long are you in life insurance?
How long am I in life insurance?
How long did you work in life insurance?
Right up till 2000. Well, I've never been out of it. 2020, I handed in my resignation after 38 years at one company. I moved from Crown Life to another company 4 years later. And in 2020, I stopped there and I started at where I am now for 3 years. But I had to leave all my clients with them.
Really?
So I started over again at 8. Yeah, read my books all there. I had to start.
After all those years.
Age 75, I started my insurance career restart. No clients. I couldn't take one with me. I mean, let's put it this way. There was a couple that I took, but they allowed me. But basically, my contract says, no, you can't.
So why would you leave?
I can't say it on the podcast, but let's put it this way. There was some disagreement on where we were going.
Okay. We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
There you go. We'll just stay politically correct.
Very good.
All right. So you leave after all those years.
38.
And you're not allowed to bring any of your clients with you. So at 75 years old,
yes,
you have to start all over again.
100%.
What was that like?
Challenging.
Yeah. I would
But I
think.
didn't, but I have the 40 plus years of knowledge. I had a good base of clients that I had that eventually started finding out I wasn't there
Right.
and came back to me, and that was allowed. So
Yeah.
I started building up my base with them contacting me. I couldn't contact them, but it was fine.
Yeah. So it all worked out.
Well, it has, and I'm happy, and everything's well. But the thing about it, I guess, the message that I put in the book was, you know what? If you're unhappy where you are, move. I don't care what age you are, and if you're unhappy in your job, find another one. I just love the insurance business. I
Right.
specialize in group and life. Group is really my baby. I love group insurance, health benefits. But I didn't want to get out of it, but I didn't like where I was.
Yeah.
So it turned out to be, let's just change direction, but continue on. And you know what? I got no complaints.
That's cool. Okay. So you leave at 75, you go to the new company, and you're there basically rebuilding from scratch. And at some point, you decide to write a book.
Yep.
And how did that happen? I mean, what occurred that made you decide that you wanted to? And by the way, do me a favor, hold up the copy of the book so people can see it. There you go. Retired, Rewired. There you go. Okay.
Actually, it's not retired. Notice the arrows through it.
There you go.
Not retired.
Not retired, rewired. I got you. Okay. Not expired. I love that.
Yes, I'm not expired. I'm still alive.
You still have the energy of an 18-year-old. I love it. Okay.
Well, that's funny. Why you're actually downgrading. I even thought I got the energy of a 5-year-old.
Oh, yeah? Have you been accused of that? Because I have.
I'm sorry?
Have you been accused of that? Because I have.
Yes. Oh, yes. I'm told that all the time.
So
I'm like a child.
The day that my wife and I, we just celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary last month. The day that my wife and I told my parents that we were getting married, my mother looked at my fiance and said, "Are you sure?"
That's good.
Right. And my now wife said, "Yeah, I'm sure." Why?
Good.
And she goes, "Well, do you know the tornado that you're hooking up to here?" Right.
Yeah, that's good. My parents never said that to my wife, but we've been married.
You're ready.
But we've been married 51 years, so I guess it worked out okay.
There you go. It worked out okay.
Yeah, but you know what? You have the energy and the ability, because you know what? The old story. I love what I do.
Yeah.
And it's fun. And as long as I got my health, which thank God I do.
Yeah.
And I can put in these. Well, actually, I tell everybody, Mike, that I'm now slowing down. I'm only working half days. Everybody goes, 12 hours.
Right.
I'm only putting in 12-hour days now,
Right.
not the 15 or 16 I used to.
Exactly. Right. Dialing it back. Yeah, I love it. Okay. So why the book?
The easy answer would be COVID, because it gave me some time at home. But the real answer was, I heard about all these people dying of COVID, and I was a senior citizen. And 2020, I was 75, and I'm thinking, you know what? We didn't know enough about COVID to know who's going to get it and who's going to live and who's going to die. And I started talking about it. And then there was a very good guy in the insurance industry. His name is Dave Patriarch, and he wrote a book on selling benefits. That's the name of the book. Yeah. And I read it and I bought it. And I phoned him up one day and I said, you know what, Dave, I really enjoyed your book. Mm-hmm. He said, well, you should write one. I said, well, I don't want to do one on insurance. He said, what do you want to write about? I said, the thing that I know the best, me. He said, then we'll write it.
Yeah.
If you look at the book, it's very interesting, because the prologue in the book is by Dave Patriarch.
Is that right?
Yeah, there it is right there.
Oh, I love it.
So he inspired me to write the book. But I've had this germinating in my head for a long time. One thing I've learned when I do the book and tell the book to people, mm-hmm. everybody says, oh, I'd love to write a book, but very few do it. Very few do it. So he pushed me to say, go do it. He helped edit it for a little bit too. I mean, I had a publisher who edited, but he helped me. He saw the final copy. And, but I wanted, as I said before, what COVID scared me to one effect, we didn't know what the hell was happening. Yeah. I mean, I could have died tomorrow because of my age. And how do you know you picked it up? I don't know. You wear a mask, you do this, you wear that. I wore gloves whenever I went out. I didn't shake hands with people. So I wanted to leave my kids, because I started thinking about what I talked before about my parents. They never really sat down and told me their life. This is my life. 174 pages of my life. So my kids, 10 years from now, can reread that book and go, geez, now this makes sense. And when I'm long gone, my grandkids, who obviously at the age, I've got one that's not even 2 years old. She's not going to know me enough to know. And she'll read it and go, wow, so that's what it was all about. Now I understand. So that's really what it was. And very few people are able to finish a book. And that's another thing too. That was a big challenge. I had so many people say when I was telling them I'm writing a book, yeah, right, you'll finish it. Yeah, you're going to get it published. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You're actually going to get a book.
Yeah.
And when I gave it to people or people bought it, like, holy crow, I've had people say to me, I didn't know that about you. And that's perfect. I want people to know about me.
Yeah.
The more, the merrier. I wish that I could sell this book free and just give it out to the world. But it doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But it's a great thing that you wrote it, because now people can learn what you're all about, and they can learn what makes you tick. That's one of the reasons why we do this podcast, right? We get people's life stories so that we have it on tape, right? And it's important to us to have that for posterity. One of these days, people are going to listen to your podcast and they're going to go, oh, I didn't know he wrote a book. Let's get the book. Okay. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about is, people are absolutely driven by your energy. I guarantee you they are. I can feel it, and you're in Canada and I'm in Escondido, California, right? But you have this energy about you at your current age, right? You have this energy about you, and it's palpable, and people want to know why. They want to know. And there are other people, by the way, you mentioned the book thing. There are people out there. Do you know how many people get started in insurance and don't continue? Like they don't, right? Like we started this podcast and I had a coach that coached me on getting it started and everything we needed to do. And it was plug and play. It was awesome. But he said that 98%, this is a true statistic, 98% of all podcasts don't make it past the second episode.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I can see you're a preparation H guy, not a preparation G guy, same as I am.
Exactly.
Do you want me to explain that?
Yeah.
So
you've got to, here's the thing. You make a decision and you go, right? And I've been self-employed. I've been in real estate for 32 years, right? I've been self-employed the whole time, right? Practically. And I'm not a kind of like your dad, right? I can't compare myself to your dad, but I know how your dad feels when you get a paycheck and all this stuff taken out and you're like, what? That was never my thing. That was never something that I liked. It was never something that I enjoyed. I never liked having a salary, right? That stuff just doesn't work for me. I'm a commission guy. It's how I roll, So anyway, it just, to me, doing what you do and coming from teaching. Now, one of the things that I know is some of the absolute best people in the world in sales are former teachers.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've been told that more than once. That helped me
Because
get
they're
my job
really good at communicating things that normally would just completely overwhelm somebody, but they do it with love, and they do it in a way that empowers, not intimidate, right? It helps people, you help lift people rather than the other way around. You with me? And so, you learned a ton as a teacher that then prepared you to do what you did. However, you went from having that salary, right, with that you got paid, like you said, you got paid every 2 weeks, to now you got paid when you closed things. And that's a whole different world, right? And to your credit, and I believe because of the way you were raised and what your parents taught you, you just put your head down and went to work.
Yeah, first aid.
You just one foot in front of the other. You weren't going to fail. You weren't going to allow it to happen.
No. And success wasn't compensation, like getting the paycheck, or the money for the commission. It was just basically every time I made a sale and got a commission, it endorsed my availability in my mind that I'm successful because somebody actually bought from me.
Yeah.
I always tell people, I say to them, there's 40,000 people selling what I'm selling, but you bought from me. That's a pretty big, heavy load on my shoulders.
It is. And they are happier and more at ease because they worked with you. The value you brought to them, right? Just like
Yes.
you brought value when you were teaching, you brought value to this.
Yes.
And these are, when you're talking about life insurance is a big deal.
No.
Life insurance is something that, people have to think about their mortality. That's not everybody's favorite subject.
No.
Honestly, right?
No, it's true. And the other thing about the sale is there's so many people out there in your business selling real estate. There's so many people out there selling insurance and where I live.
Yeah.
You have to stand apart. There has to be something. And I always tell everybody, it's not my looks. So there's got to be something else I'm giving you besides that. You're not buying based on what I'm looking like.
Yeah.
So it has to be. I tell prospects, Mike, something very interesting that most people have told me they've never heard before. First time I'll meet you or getting there, I said, let me just set my ground rules right now.
Right.
You're never going to be given hockey tickets or baseball tickets or basketball tickets.
Right.
I will never take you out for lunch. I will never golf with you.
Right.
If you're happy with that arrangement, let's continue. If you don't want that and you want that from your broker, please go to the other 39,000 plus, because I will not do that. I don't remember the last time. I don't even know if I can't even tell you when I ever went to a ball game with it and they paid me to come and say, I'll give you the ticket. I can't remember the last time I went for lunch with a client years ago. And I can tell you, I don't golf. So I can tell you for sure in the last 45 years of my insurance career, I've never golfed with one client.
Yeah.
But yet I'm still here 45 years later.
Some lady that was on the phone with the other day said, oh, I'm excited to put a face with the name. And I said, well, I just need to apologize ahead of time. And she goes, why? And I said, because I look at this mug every day and I know how painful it is.
You got it.
It's not my looks. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So I love this. So if somebody wants to buy your book,
yep,
where do they go?
The best way to go, you can go on Amazon, put in my name, Joel Cadesky, see the book and just buy it.
Okay. So we'll put a link to your Amazon page.
If I knew how to, one of the things I put is, I'm not a very technology, but you'll do it.
I'll do it.
Okay, perfect.
So I'll look it up just like you said, and I'll copy that link and I'll put that link in your description.
I appreciate that. I'm not one of the more technology people in the world. That was another thing too. People said, what did you learn about doing this book? I said, if I would have known how much technology is involved in it, I don't think I would have completed it. You would not believe. I actually had one person who's phenomenal. Her name is Deirdre, who's phenomenal in technology, and she did all the uploading. In fact, the publisher would send an email to her and CC me, Deirdre, would you please do this for Joel?
Yes.
And she wasn't my IT person. I never paid her. She's just a friend. It's a very difficult thing to have got this out of their way.
Well, thank God for it, right?
Yeah, it's fun. But, it is what it is. You got to learn with what you can do, and then you find out people that can help you out that you can't do it.
So here's a question. What's the number one most important thing you learned writing this book?
I had phenomenal parents. I had a great childhood, which I didn't realize till I wrote it, seriously, except for the anti-Semitism. I'm a strong person that I knew, but now I know. Notice I said knew, but now I know. And I have a lot of compassion for people who are in sales that I didn't really appreciate before, because I now know what it's about. And I guess the last thing I learned about writing the book is, guess what? I'm open myself to the world, and I'm so transparent in there. You see the good, the bad, and the ugly about Joel Cadesky. And there's very few people that would do that. I mean, I've seen a lot of autobiographies, but it's all rosy. Yeah. You don't see the bad. There's a lot of ugly stuff in there that I wrote about with me. And you go, what? Really? But you know what? I'll give you a good example, Mike. Somebody once said to me when I was writing this book, and I was telling them about, and they said, do you really care at your age what people think about you? And I thought about it for a moment. I said, you know what? No, not anymore. I used to. I don't care. You like me, you like me. You don't like what I write. You want to deal with me, fine. You don't want to deal with me, that's fine. Listen, I'm at that stage of life. I'm not talking about if down the road. I'm talking when, and I don't know when that when is. Yeah. And, and unfortunately in my career, I've given away a lot of death claim checks. The hard part is most of those people are younger than I am. And that's the bad part. That's the bad. not that I want it, but it would be nice once in a while to have an 85-year-old check, but I don't get those. I get the 60s and the 50s and the 70s, and they're all younger. And I sit there like, one day. So, I don't really care. People like, if they like what they see, that's fine. If they don't like what they see, that's fine. I think I learned that too. Just be yourself, be transparent. I think that's the other thing too. You talked about sales and all that, and you did it with your job too, obviously, for over 30 years. People are smart. I think you more likely been in the same seminar I did, where they say within the first 7 seconds of meeting a prospect, they'll decide whether they want to deal with you or not.
Yeah.
They may not buy from you because of what you're presenting, but they want to know if you're 7 seconds. That's the average. So you got to be transparent. You got to let people know who you are. You've got to be honest with them, never lie to them. And if you screw up, you screw up. I told a client last week, it's my fault. I'll take 100% and I'll fix it. But it was me that screwed up, not the insurance company. You know what? You can't lie to people. You got to be honest. And you do that in your business too. If you say to them, you know what, I forgot to tell you that there's another 2% on your mortgage that I forgot. It was my fault. I'll fix it and get it back. But I'm telling you, it was my screw up. I forgot to tell you. You don't say, oh, the mortgage company just buried it and nobody saw it. No, you tell them the truth.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's absolutely vital. And the best thing, the most liberating thing you can do is just do the level best you can. And there's no pressure. If they want to work with you, they want to work with you. If they don't, in San Diego County, there's 34,000 realtors. Okay. There's 33,999 right behind me.
You got it. In Toronto, last time I heard, there was over 40,000 life insurance guys in the GTA, Toronto area. And I say the same thing to people. Look out the window. What do you see? I see 39,999 guys saying, I can do the same thing he can. No, you can't. No, you can't. That's why I'm here. But it is true for sure. And you know what? Real estate sales, life insurance sales, Home Depot, when you go in there and the guys sell, they're all the same.
They absolutely are.
The car that I have, I've got 6 cars now over a career with the same sales guy. He's moved 3 different dealerships. I followed him. Why? Always honest, not necessarily the best price, but that's okay. Honest, there, helps me. When I have a problem with the car, he gets to the service people. What more do you want from a salesperson? And the other thing you mentioned was really, really valuable. And this is a lesson I took a long time for me to learn. Babe Ruth made more money one year than the president of the United States, but he only hit 3 out of every 10 balls for 30%, right? You can't win every prospect. You can't win every client. You can't keep every client. You're always going to have some wins and losses. Yeah. And until you get that in your head, you're not going to be a good salesman because you're always going to be pushing.
Well, the best thing about it is you got to get your heart right. Okay. And you got to get your head right. And it's got to be, you know what? Let them go. It's got to be one of those things where it, like you said, and that's probably the healthiest thing you've said this entire interview is they want to work with me. They don't want to work with me. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. I am who I am. Right. And if you choose to work with me, great. If you don't, that's okay too. Have a nice life.
We have choices. I mean, I'm on the side, same as you are as a consumer, right? You want to buy a car, you might go to 3 dealerships and same car, and you pick one. Well, guess what? I have the right to do it. So is the client. You can't get mad at somebody who doesn't buy from you. The problem is either you weren't a fit or you didn't do your job. I never blame the client because the client came to you. I mean, if you get a phone call today and somebody says, I'm thinking of selling my house. I like you because I've been referred. You go like, whoa, that's phenomenal. Yeah. But you know what? He has a choice. There's 34,000 other guys he could have phoned up, but he came to you. And if he comes to you, you better make sure he doesn't go to somebody else. And you got to do everything in your power, everything to make that client happy.
Yeah, I totally.
And too many guys today don't do that. I see in sales. Like my LinkedIn, if you go on my LinkedIn, if everybody wants to connect with me, I connect with everybody that wants to on LinkedIn, Joel Cadesky. I always talk only about 2 things, sales and service. I don't talk about anything. I give examples of bad service, good service, how sales, I talk about some of the sales I've made and whatever. And it all comes down to the same thing. Yeah. People want to deal with people they trust, and they'll know in the first 7 seconds.
That's it. I mean, Joel Cadesky, I cannot thank you enough for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience.
My pleasure. Are you kidding? This was so much fun. This is it. It's over. I got
It's
another
over.
5 hours.
That was fast. That was fast. Take care,
It
buddy.
was my pleasure. I'm so happy and pleased, and hopefully people who listen to it will get some value out of it.
Yeah, I know they will. I know they will. I certainly did.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Take care. We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out calendly.com/Rio760.